So it turns out Molly did see Issa at the restaurant. What's going on, guys? This is my review for Insecure Season 4, Episode 7, Lowkey Trippin. We're going to make it quick because the episode didn't have that much that happened, but it had some very key moments that we got to pay attention to. So it opens where the episode picked off last episode, where Issa was at the Ethiopian restaurant and she sees Molly, then gets in the car. And actually, it turns out that Molly did see her and she prepared and sat there and tried to play it off like she didn't see Issa because she thought that Issa was going to come in there, speak to her, reach out in true Issa fashion, and that didn't happen. Issa, got out of there with the quickness and got in her car and left. Let's see. After that, they are back at Molly's apartment, I believe, and he's on the phone and he's speaking his native tongue, which is Chinese, and I guess that he's setting up the trip that is gonna happen between Molly, him, and his sister-in-law and his brother as well. And Molly ends up telling Andrew that she's seen Issa and that, to quote her, Issa ran away from her like she was an actual job. And it sounds like she's frustrated. It sounds like she wanted to speak to Issa, and it also sounds like she thought Issa was going to reach out to her because, as we know, Molly's too proud to ever apologize and say, there's something right there. What is that? Okay. Paper, whatever. Molly's too proud to say, I was wrong. She's too big and bad to apologize, and she was absolutely in the wrong at the block party. And if y'all wondering what I'm reading, I got some notes. Oh, so basically, Andrew asked Molly if she's going to reach out, and she says no, the fight was Issa's fault. And Andrew clearly thinks otherwise, but he keeps it to himself, in typical Andrew fashion. He doesn't really get into a situation to where he tries to upset Molly. At the end of the day, he's been down that road before. He sees that she's very sensitive, especially when she's confronted with the truth. So he tries to keep his opinions to a minimum, but when he does want to tell her the truth, he kind of words it in a certain way. Let's see. So after that, Molly doesn't want to talk about Issa anymore. But then, right before the trip, she gets an email saying she has to work and do another meeting. And it's the morning right before she goes on this flight with Andrew. So she gets to the office, and that at that point, she realizes she didn't pack her lotion. And then she says something about hotel lotion. And what did she say? Oh, it doesn't work on any skin, but basically on white people's skin. And then she gets into the office, and then there's a verbal confrontation between her and her assistant, which I didn't rock with. I didn't think that it was cool. I thought it was a little bit shady. Not even shady, it was just downright mean. So she asked her assistant about why she didn't hear about the meeting until last minute, and then Karen says she apologized, that, the office has been crazy, and, she lets her know that basically her head's been everywhere because of the case that the firm just won. And Molly goes in. And at that point, Karen just promises to do better and says it won't happen again. Molly's tone, Molly's attitude, it was all jacked up. She didn't have to treat her that way. You know what I'm saying? I understand, as black women in the workplace and black people in the workplace in general, we have to be on top of our shit, because if not, it looks way, way worse than it really is. But she didn't have to treat her that way. That's just my take on it. Anyway, after this, Molly's rushing to the airport. She's trying to make sure that she sees and finds him at the gate. She passes 2 different landmarks in the airport. She cannot find Andrew. She does a 360. He's like, why did you do a 360? He's holding the gate, making sure she doesn't miss the flight, making sure they don't miss the flight, making sure that they don't blow their first vacation together. At the gate, by the way, that is actually Jay Ellis's mother, who is playing the agent. And also, too, this is actually his directorial debut. This is the first episode that he got to direct of Insecure, and they got to do it on location in Mexico. So that's actually incredible. So they get on the plane, and then they meet a lady named Mabel. Mabel happens to be the iconic, the legend, Kim Fields. You know her as Regine Hunter from Living Single. You know her from being Tootie on The Facts of Life. And, you know, if you pay attention to reality TV, she was on The Real Housewives of Atlanta for like, you know, a season, and it didn't go very well. And she never returned again. She didn't belong there to begin with. She's an actress. She's Hollywood royalty. She don't belong there. Anyway, Mabel is going through a divorce. She's letting them know. She asked you guys going to Mexico, and then she leads into this story basically about how she got on the wrong flight once and in the wrong marriage for 25 years, and this day is day 3 of her being out of the marriage. And then she begins to cry, runs to the bathroom. But Mabel's harmless. Mabel's actually a very, very hilarious part of this episode. So what did Andrew say after that? Oh, he asked the flight attendant, can I get some of that organic popcorn, some drinks, that blanket, and I think he said something about them being in economy plus or something like that. And then they start to do some little freak nasty stuff on the plane under the blanket. So anyway, they get to Mexico, and Andrew's brother and sister-in-law have 1,000,001 things planned. And then basically Andrew's like, look, I just want to skip all that and do the ceviche place. I don't really want to do all them different things because Molly is just exhausted. She had to work and all that good stuff. Let's see. Lydia, when you first meet her, Lydia is Andrew's sister-in-law. That is Andrew's brother's wife. When you first meet Lydia, she's not really awkward. She just seems nervous, but she seems overall sweet, and she seems overall, you know, just goofy and just really kind-hearted. She doesn't really seem, you know, scary. She does seem super attracted to Molly in a weird way. She seems fascinated with Molly, but she seems very sweet and very sincere as well. That's what I got from her. I liked her. Let's see. So when they get up to the room, Molly had mentioned before that she had a surprise or a sexy surprise for Andrew, whatever, once they got there. They get up to the room. They start unpacking. Her sexy surprise was some lingerie. He thought it was more, and Andrew goes, oh, that's it. And that was probably one of the funniest parts of the episode. The stuff that he pulled out was way, way different and way, way, way to the left of what she had going on. And also, they have Looking for LaToya in Mexico. Who knew? Let's see. And then, what did they say? So they end up getting into some sexual things, and Andrew goes, or Molly goes, well, what do you like? And then, you know, Andrew's like, well, I like when you take control. So I'm thinking we starting to see some things with Andrew, and I think we starting to see that he's a little bit of a submissive when it comes down to, you know, that whole thing or whatever. Long story short. And so needless to say, they never ended up going to meet up with Lydia and Victor, and they spent their time in the room, and then they got with them the next day, and they ended up going on a hike. The hike leads into zip lining, but on the hike, they ended up running into Mabel, and Mabel was like, day 4, see y'all at dinner, you know what I mean? She just is excited to be divorced and free. I actually like her. She reminds me of Regine from Living Single, like maybe 25 years later, divorced, and, you know, just living a different life than she was living way back when. Shout out to Issa Rae for including all these black TV legends on the show. We've had Erica Alexander on here. We've had Wendy Raquel Robinson. You know, she's had Regina Hall here. And now we get Kim Fields and Terry J. Vaughn. All these different ladies. Issa Rae really is becoming the female Tyler Perry. She just is putting everybody on or re-putting them on. And, you know, we love to see it. Let's see. Oh, okay. So when they get back to the room, Andrew looks at his phone and he says he missed like 3 calls from Nathan. So he FaceTimes Nathan, and he can't get out of the garage back at the house and asks where the extra clicker is. And turns out Issa is at the house with Nathan. In the back, you can hear her voice or whatever the case may be, and Molly hears. And being typical Molly in true Molly fashion, she starts to get judgmental and says, you know what, she likes things messy, so it's, you know, it's pretty, what did she say? it makes sense that she's over there with Nathan. That's on track because, you know, she likes things messy. And at the end of the day, I don't know why she's over there with him after what he did, because she knows how he is. So she just launched into a full-on attack and, you know, just got hella judgmental. And, you know, at the end of the day, Nathan and Andrew are boys, and they were boys before, you know, either of them were dating Molly or Issa. So Andrew rightfully got to his defense and was like, you know, you don't really know what you're talking about. When he disappeared and that when he ghosted Issa, you know, he was dealing with some mental health stuff. And, you know, Molly was like, does Issa know? And Nathan was like, I don't know, because Issa ain't on this trip. And it's not about them. And this is about us. So then they get into another freaky phase. And Nathan end up blindfolded, tied up, and all type of other stuff. And let's just say I think this scene ended with Andrew with a mouthful of booty, and that's just where we gonna leave that at. And after this, the actor that plays Andrew, he just was trending all up and down Twitter because they just love everything about him. Level-headed, works a good job, you know, keeps everything cool and collected when Molly's snapping off, you know, all type of stuff. They was like, he can dance, he got the perfect hair, you know, he's really winning. You know, we thought Nathan was winning last season until Andrew kicked into a full-time cast member this season, and then we see it. So the next morning, Andrew, Molly, and Lydia and Andrew's brother are all at the pool. And I thought it was like an eyelash, maybe like a fake eyelash thing, but I believe it was like a contact situation, and somebody was swimming and the water, the chlorine got in Andrew's sister-in-law, Lydia's eye. And Molly says, you know what, let me go get you a towel. So when Molly goes to the towel stand, there's a white couple that the towel girl just gives towels to randomly. You know, they asked for them, she got them. But when it's Molly's turn, she needs to see a key card to give her a towel. And Molly was getting ready to get into sister girl mode, cuss her out. Andrew's brother Victor comes out, flashes the key card, says she's in room 328, she's good. And then snatches the towel and walks away and gives it to Lydia. Andrew can see something's wrong, and when Molly and Victor get back to the pool, Molly says somebody was being selectively racist, that somebody happens to be the towel lady. And then Victor takes this as an opportunity to turn it into a social debate and figure out, you know, devil's advocate. What if she wasn't being racist? What if she was just doing her job? And Lydia knows that's not the case. Andrew knows that's not the case. Victor wanted to be an ass at that moment and try to make an ass of Molly. In this moment, she was not wrong. And the situation could have gone a little bit better on her behalf, but it could have also gone better on his behalf. Andrew tried to step in, and, you know, Molly ends up saying, you know what, Andrew, get your fucking brother. And she ends up leaving the pool because he really had to just take it to a different level. Molly wasn't wrong. She could have checked her emotions a little bit better, but Andrew's brother was definitely wrong, and I will have Molly's back on that. He didn't treat things the right way in that situation. And as a black woman, she was not handled properly in that situation. She wasn't backed up the way that she should have been, and she wasn't respected by his brother the way that she should have been. And that's just my take on it. That night, those two slept awkwardly. They slept separately. You know, there was space between them in the bed. When she woke up that morning, she realized that Andrew wasn't there, and he let her sleep in. And he brought back some smoothies and said that he talked to Victor, and who apologized for being insensitive. And then also, you know, more group activities have been canceled. And Molly, I guess, is trying to basically figure out if her attitude and her, you know, her lashing out, which was fair, has ruined the vacation. And Andrew lets, you know, her know, basically, look, we'll get through it. We ain't gonna let shit linger. We ain't gonna let it fester. That's my brother. You know, it's gonna be fine. And that, you know, it'll all work itself out. So after that, Molly walks on the beach and basically starts to have some me time and checks, you know, in with herself and realizes that I need to call my damn therapist, the lady we've been looking for this entire season, because Molly been effing tripping. Molly been out of her damn mind, and we've been waiting for this therapist. We've been waiting to find her. We waiting to see her. Lady, where are you? Where have you been? We've needed you. Molly has needed you because she's been driving us the hell crazy. Come back. Come back to us now. So long story short, she leaves a voicemail on her therapist's on her therapist's phone and says, look, I need to schedule an appointment with you. And this is kind of what we were getting from Molly a few seasons ago when she first started going to therapy, which is growth. This is grown people's growth. This is emotional growth. And this is, what do I call it? This is realizing when you're in the wrong growth as well, and when you are spiraling type of growth, and I need to get back into reality type of growth. And Molly clearly knows that some things are not going the right way, and that every situation ain't everybody else's fault, and that she needs a little bit of help. And shout out to Yvonne Orji, who's really doing a great job. We got to give her all her things, all her flowers, because we can't stand her, and she's doing a great job at being so convincing, or of convincing us that Molly's a real person. And her body is banging as hell. I mean, damn, that's how they doing it in Nigeria, which is where she's from, by the way. After that, they fly home when, Molly leaves the beach after talking to her therapist's voicemail. She leaves the message. They leave. They go home. They go to the airport. And when they get back to LA, they see Mabel in the airport, who seems to have met somebody new. And they also run into Lawrence, who's on his way back from Frisco. And Molly introduces Lawrence to Andrew. And then Lawrence ends up walking away and making a phone call saying he's been thinking a lot about someone and that he wants to see that someone. Who could it be? Turns out in the previews, it is Issa. And we're going to have to see how it goes. You know what I mean? Could Issa and Lawrence be back? Could they be getting back together? Is it going to be her and Nathan? You know what I mean? I think we all saw this coming. And don't forget, I think we get 12 episodes this season. So we got like 5 more after this. So fingers crossed that this end of the season is going to go right. Anyways, guys, this was long enough. This was my review for Insecure, Season 4, Episode 7, Lowkey Trippin. What did you guys think? Did you think that Molly was wrong? Did you think that Victor was right? What did you think of the episode? And what are you looking forward to for the rest of the season and this next episode? Until then, see y'all.